The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network. This is Vince Russo's The Brand.
Yo! Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Disco. I'm Vince Russo. We're here for the Realm Network. And, of course, the great Jeff Lane is with us today. Jeff, how you doing?
Good, man. I think I have earned a get-out-of-being-late free card because we were supposed to start an hour ago.
For the record, I was on another show. And I'll give them a plug. Hey, Glenn, is that on MLW?
Yeah, it's the writer's room.
I was on a room with Alex Greenfield. I just met him for the first time. He used to be a writer on WWE SmackDown. Great individual. I was just on his show on MLW Writer's Room. It was Alex, myself, Glenn, and Ed. And, I mean, Jeff, do I need to explain why we're a half hour late?
No.
And Glenn just spoke. And he spoke, and he spoke, and he spoke, and that's why we're a half hour late. So I got to give Glenn credit, though, and it pains me to put Glenn over. It really does, but everybody knows I take great pride in being honest. And, Glenn, this isn't on the format again. And, you know, I know, bro, you get all upset when we get off format because you can't ad-lib like us professionals. If you don't know what we're going to talk about, you give the old Ralph Cramden humna, 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 humna. I'm going to give Glenn – Jeff, you know I say this all the time about Glenn. Glenn has a way of saying the simplest things that make a great deal of sense. He made a great point today on the Alex show. And Glenn, I bet you don't even know what point that was, do you?
No, I don't. I make so many great points that
Oh God. Here's the point he made, Jeff, which was a great point. Jeff, you know, okay, bro, we know there's a whole audience out there that likes good wrestling. We know that, okay? We don't deny that, and we say, listen, if you like great wrestling, that's fine. That's not our bag. That's not what we like. Well, Glenn made the point that what has kind of happened is, bro, there are a lot of great companies out there now with that type of wrestling. If you like that. And Glenn pointed out, there's Ring of Honor, bro. There's New Japan. There's NXT. That style is available to you. However, the casual wrestling fans, there's nothing there for them. So and when Glenn said that, it's like, my God, bro, I never looked at it that way before, that if people want great wrestling, there's multiple places to go, but it seems like all of a sudden the casual wrestling fans are left out in the cold, and there really isn't anything for us to watch anymore that we enjoy. Glenn, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but can you elaborate on that? Bro, I thought that was a great point because I never looked at it like that before.
I thought we always looked at it like that. That basically, that, you know, I don't care. Like I said, I don't care about the matches. I've been in the business for 20-something years. I don't care about a great match. You're not going to get me. I don't care who's wrestling. You are not going to get me to watch live, okay, then gain my attention for a 16-minute wrestling match from start to finish, because I don't care what they do. I just want to know what the finish is. I want to see highlights. I want to see. I don't care for that. I would rather watch. I'd watch a 4-minute wrestling match with three 4-minute interviews between guys. That's what entertains me. The spoken word. So like basically, you can watch. There's Progress Wrestling. There's NXT. There's New Japan. This stuff. Bro, if you like to watch the matches from start to finish, don't hijack. What I like. Basically what's happened is because there's so many fans of that the people like me don't really even have a voice anymore. Professional wrestling isn't giving me anything. It's not giving me anything that I like anymore. It didn't follow up. Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler's cool promo. They didn't do anything on either show to follow that up this week. They didn't. It's just, bro. Like I said, it's you. Here's your problem. This is. I'm not even calling it as a problem, but this is your choice. Okay, is you guys elect to do a Raw review show for your listeners. All right, and what happens is you have to watch the show.
Right.
And you have to watch the show in a 3-hour block from start to finish.
Yeah.
You can't. There's no way you can get me to do that. Okay, because there's what I do with the show. I DVR it. I fast forward. It takes me 15 to 20 minutes. I watch what I want to watch. All right, and I think that's what wrestling provides to me right now. I don't have to watch the 3 hours because there's nothing for me to watch. But I think that what happens is you guys because you have to watch that show from start to finish. That when you do the show and your whole basically attitude for the rest of the week is such frustration
Absolutely.
and stuff.
Absolutely.
But I'm saying, but the problem, and that's what I say, and we had this argument last week. You end up repeating yourself.
Yeah.
But that comes from having to watch the show for 3 hours straight. Bro,
Absolutely.
honestly, if you do so many shows, I'll be honest with you. If you don't do that Raw review show and watch it right after, and you just can watch the show like I do and just DVR and fast forward everything, I bet you will have a better week.
I know I will.
week.
Glenn, there's no question about that. No, bro, I am so Jeff knows. I'm so freaking pissed off when that show is over. But I don't want to talk about that. But Glenn, you know what's interesting, bro? When you put it that way, Glenn, I know you're a big sports guy, and Glenn, you're probably more a football guy than anything else, right? And I know Jeff's a big football guy living there in Buffalo. I'm a big baseball guy. But Glenn, you know what the funny thing is? Bro, in baseball, there are two kinds of games, Glenn. You'll either get a pitcher's duel or you'll get the game where, that's an offensive outburst where they score a lot of runs. Now, Glenn, here's the thing. Some people like pitcher's duels. Some people like, home run, long ball, high-scoring games. Well, obviously, baseball is not worked, so you're always going to get a little of both. Maybe you get a pitcher's duel, then there's 5 home runs the next game. But what I'm saying is, bro, they're not altering the game to make it in favor of the pitchers. In other words, we're not moving in the mound 10 feet. So every game is a pitcher's duel. We've left the game the same. Some people are going to like pitcher's duel. Some people are going to like. They haven't changed the game. WWE, they've altered the game. So we are getting the majority of the great in-ring wrestling matches and less and less and less of the entertainment enjoyment that we all used to enjoy. But they've altered it that way. They've made the decision to make it that way. And it's funny to me because when you look at it that way, you have to ask yourself, why? Why? Like basically, when something is broken, you fixed it. You fix it. I don't know what was broken and what told them we've got to go in the way of more wrestling, because what more wrestling has done has made the show broken. It's broken right now because they steered it a certain way. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, I've read something fascinating the other day. A guy tweeted, you were in that Twitter conversation where the guy tweets the amount of talking on the show, adds up the minutes, the amount of in-ring stuff, and there was way more talking on the show than I would have thought. Okay, like there's a lot of talking, but because it's so it's so formulatic, where like we have the one guy coming out there talking for 10 minutes. You have the setting in the back. What is that room, by the way? What we're gonna call it, the manager's office? The setting where they have wherever they're there.
And they don't even sit. They don't even sit down, bro. They stand for 3 hours.
They stand in front of the two. But bro, that's a bizarre set. That's weird. Like but back in the then they'll have an interview area, and stuff and everything. But like they don't really. There's no conversations really taking place or verbiage going on anywhere else than just like those specific spots. So the show just doesn't look any different from one week to the next. There's no, they had they'll throw stuff out there like the wedding with the cake and stuff and everything and all that, but like the stuff like that is so few and far in between that like it's just like on a weekly basis you're providing me with the exact same show every single week.
Hey, Glenn,
and you're not go ahead.
I want to bring people a little bit behind the scenes because, Glenn, everybody knows now that follows me. I'm working for a little promotion here in Colorado, and I do the same exact thing. Glenn, as the writer and the producer of the show, this was the first thing I did every time we arrived at a building. This was the first thing for every television show I wrote. First thing I do at the building is I go off by myself and I look at every aspect of that building. What I'm looking for, bro, are cool, different, unique looks. And, bro, every building has it. Every building is different. Bro, the stuff I used to discover in some of these buildings were amazing. So now I have the show in my head. Now I'm looking for locations. I'm going all over. Bro, it probably took me about an hour. Now I go back to my sheet. I got my pre-tapes. Okay, we're going to do this here. We're going to do this here. We're going to do this here. That's how I work like that to this day, bro. Glenn, honestly, bro, outside of sheer laziness, why would a company like the WWE that plays in these massive arenas, that has full reign for the day, if it's not laziness, why would they only do every pre-tape in the back in one location?
I have no idea, bro. There were so many. Bro. The Asylum shows back in 2003.
Oh, bro.
We were in one building every single week. It looks like you shot from 80 different locations.
Yep.
So it's like, I mean, you can find cool spots, like especially when you have characters who we visually put them in the type of environment that they would gravitate to. Raven would be shot in weird places because he's a weird guy. The James Mitchell would have his characters in dark places, and stuff like that. So that's the same. But bro, when you have a show that's based around wrestling, and all you have is a bunch of wrestlers, do you really need any of that? All you really need is one location to stick a microphone in their hand and say, hey, you're going to go out there and talk about your match. You guys come back here, we'll talk about this match. Hey, let me go talk to the GM. Oh, well, there's the GM's office. Hey, GM, I get this. Bro, everybody's talking about the matches.
Yeah. And Glenn, not only that, bro, that's a great point, because not only that, bro, finding the location, that's part of being creative. Like you
Absolutely.
just said, Raven fits here, Mitchell fits here, Dixie fits here. That's part of the creative process. You take the creative out of it, it doesn't matter where you do the promo, bro. You're absolutely right.
Absolutely right. And that's it's a forgotten thing. I mean, it's just I just can't believe that they don't do it. I'm surprised at the lack of remember that little cage we had underneath
the stairs? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Bro, what about Sting up in the rafters? We had that whole place.
Up in the rafters.
You know what the amazing thing to me is, like, bro? This is the funny thing to me. Like, Glenn, it's like the outside doesn't exist. I mean, you know what I'm saying, bro? Like, when you see that show on Monday, they literally are locked in the bubble. Bro, there's a whole outside. You know what I mean? Nothing is ever shot outside. I don't understand that.
Bro, how great was it that I'm sure you probably did this episode where they pour the cement.
Yeah, we just did that. Yeah.
Bro, how great is that when Vince is beeping the horn outside the thing for the guy to open?
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Bro, there's so many entertaining things you can do just by going around the building and putting spots and stuff like that. So,
yeah. All right, Jeff, what is the news of the week?
Well, you and me have kind of touched on this already this week on the Conor McGregor statements, but Glenn has not. So I wanted to get his input because he had sent me this new article that just came out on ESPN about McGregor's comments and possibly working with WWE and stuff. So Glenn, what is your take on this entire Conor McGregor insulting the WWE and a lot of the wrestlers responding. And what do you think the point of all this is?
I don't think there is a point. I just think he said it, and it's Conor McGregor. He's like, this is the guy in the fighting business, which includes professional wrestling, the number one guy right now. So if he says something, social media, there's tens of millions of people that follow this. All somebody has to do is retweet it, and everybody gets, the guy's a smack talker. That's what the guy does. And like on ESPN.com, it's like, will Conor McGregor go to the WWE? Absolutely, if they pay him the right amount of money. I mean, the guy is like, you can tell he's in this for the buck. Okay, even though he's very passionate, he's an excellent fighter, very, very driven. Okay, if you watch any of this stuff like on YouTube, the Mac Life and stuff and everything, but he's very driven, very successful, but he wants to make he wants to make more money than anybody. And I think. Bro, I would not doubt this one bit, okay? Because they just made a fortune off of having Brock Lesnar, the UFC, and basically what they do, to me it looks like a talent exchange. You owe us one, we owe you one. You owe us one, we owe you one. I could easily see Conor McGregor doing something at WrestleMania. Maybe not like in ring or something, but he could do something with Sheamus, or but I guess Becky Lynch and him might be friends or something, or that. Bro, just his appearance alone and his mouthpiece on that show is ratings, So I mean, and if he probably knows, he probably figures that if they're going to pay Brock Lesnar all that money to go stand in the middle of the ring and not say anything on Monday Night Raw, that hey, bro, look, you could pay me the same thing you're paying him, and I'll actually go talk. Saying for what it's worth. So I would not doubt, from my understanding, the people that know him personally, that he is a professional wrestling fan and has been for life. So something that an Ultimate Fighter a fighter would say that likes to talk smack. I just keep bringing up. He said stuff about other fighters too, that's just as bad. Like he would take Dos Anjos' head. He would knock his head off and carry his head through the streets of Rio de Janeiro. Like, bro, he's basically said, hey, the professional wrestlers, I'll knock their heads off their pussies. Okay, but that if you're a wrestler, oh, that's disrespectful. But bro, that's what the guy would say. He's a real fighter.
I don't think, the only thing is, like, I agree with everything that Glenn said. I don't think it's a work, because he backpedaled a little bit, putting over Hunter and putting over Vince and all that. I don't think he would have done that if it were a work. So I definitely don't think it was a work. I believe, with Glenn, the guy talks, and that's part of his gimmick, and that has made him money, and he's going to say whatever is on his mind. But, yeah, bro, I mean, bro, again, bro, can you imagine the comparison of setting foot in an octagon when, bro, literally you could get effed up in more ways than one, compared for the money a Brock Lesnar is going to make in a controlled situation. If you're a UFC fighter, bro, you got to be silly not to look at those possibilities.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Especially the type of money that they're worth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping, and I think what Dana White is probably praying for is that CM Punk wins his fight. Because, Conor McGregor's just smart. I think Punk fights at like somebody said he fights at 170. I thought he fights at 185 for some reason. But you don't think Dana White would love a Conor McGregor CM Punk fight to promote? I mean, that's his dream fight right there. I'm saying? The best talker from pro wrestling in the past like 5-10 years versus the best talker in the MMA in the best 5-10 years. And bro, like I said, in promotion, all you have to do is get the people to buy it. It doesn't matter. The actual fight, once the tickets are sold and it's bought, the result is irrelevant. Okay, it's selling the fight, and I don't think you could probably sell a fight better than CM Punk and Conor McGregor against each other. Would be like Dana White's dream scenario.
Well, but Glenn, you know what the only thing is about that, bro? Like the roles have changed. I can see Dana White salivating at the mouth for that if wrestling, still drew the audience it once did.
No, bro. It still does. It doesn't draw it on TV, but people still follow it. CM Punk didn't lose any Twitter followers when he left the WWE. They still follow him. So people that follow CM Punk on Twitter see his tweets. And whenever so his voice is still heard in professional. That's the thing about pro wrestling with social media. Just because you don't watch the show doesn't mean you're not following the product. All you have to do is follow people and go on Twitter every day, and the things are popping up. It's just like I said, bro, the WWE is doing really good business, and I've never denied that and stuff. All we're saying is that the show is not good. That's it. It's like, just if they could improve the show, you would actually probably do even better, but they're doing great business.
Right.
So it's like I said, everybody follows. Punk has, how many, what does he have, like 3 million followers or something? He's got a lot.
Yeah.
And especially if he wins his UFC fight, he'll have way more than that too. But that's, it is what it is. There's an audience out there, but they just don't watch the show. They're your audience on social media.
Yeah. All right, what's next, Jeff?
Yeah, real quick. Did you email a format this week?
Yes.
Okay, you know what? I want to point out that I didn't even bother reading it. Okay.
Unbelievable.
All right. So I just want to make that point that you guys can you can. I don't even know what you want to bring, what you're bringing up, because So just continue. But let me just say that at some point, I may want to start talking about what I want to start talking about.
But number one on that format that you didn't read was Seth Rollins was a guest on the Pro Wrestling Illustrated podcast, and he said something that I thought was interesting. Pro
Wrestling Illustrated has a podcast?
Apparently,
Bill
yes.
Apter?
This says with Al Castle. So I haven't had a chance to check it out yet.
Yeah, Apter doesn't do that. He does another one. Go ahead.
But he said something interesting as far as WWE's attitude towards independent wrestling. And he said, I'd like to think I played a small part in transforming the entire system. Without guys like myself, Cesaro, Ambrose, Punk having success on a high level, you wouldn't have the company taking the leap into that area. They wouldn't have the faith to go out and grab a Sami Zayn and a Kevin Owens and a Finn Balor. And they wouldn't have the faith to look at Evolve and work with Gabe Sapolsky and stuff like that if it wasn't for guys who he had recommended becoming top stars. So I think some of us from the previous years will go down as heroes in that regard for helping pave the way, I think, from Punk all the way up to where we're at now with Neville and Finn Balor and Samoa Joe. Thoughts on that, Joe?
Well, where does Rollins think that they would have come from? I don't understand. What does Rollins think that if he didn't pave the way on the indie circuit and make the WWE aware that there was an independent circuit, where would they have found their wrestlers? On the street? I don't understand.
Let me just
say this. The independent scene replaced the territories. That's where you find up-and-coming wrestlers. So I don't know what his point is. If it wasn't for him, Cesaro, and Ambrose, people wouldn't be getting jobs coming out of the independent scene. Where would the wrestlers be coming from?
But where they are coming from, backyards. That's basically what that done is it is given the stamp of approval to if you're a backyard wrestler and you can do a bunch of flips. And you can learn, you can be in the WWE someday. That's because that's where the evolution of wrestling is gone. We've taken backyard wrestling, which is acrobatics, people jumping off the side of the house, flips and stuff and everything. We've taken that, brought it to the indie scene because, bro, when you go on the indie scene level, is like a lot of guys from backyard wrestling that shouldn't even. You'll be getting paid to perform in a ring and stuff, and just we continue to do acrobatics and stuff and everything, and never really learn how to work traditional style wrestling that we all grew up with, and just basically it's gravitated. It's going to get even more and more. You don't have to look like a wrestler anymore.
Hey, Glenn, let me ask you this.
You know how to wrestle. All you got to do is just be a little guy that knows how to do acrobatic flips and stuff.
Glenn, let me ask you this because I find this very, very interesting. Are you still working a lot of indies, outside of your area? You still traveling a lot and stuff?
No, not a lot, but I do them every once in a while if it's worth it,
I got to tell you, man, here's what's weird. I'm working more and more indies now. Let's face it, I'm in demand. The more me and Jeff get over, the more people want me. So it's no surprise I'm doing more and more indies. But
those shows can't be drawing any people. I mean, you got to be doing it in front of 125, 130
All right,
people.
here's
probably.
the thing. Here's the thing that is interesting to me, Jeff. I'm talking to you.
Okay.
I've been to indie shows, bro, where it is the traditional wrestling. Rocky Mountain Pro, I consider traditional wrestling. Watch the show on our network. You don't see any flip-flop and flying. You see wrestling matches in psychology. I just worked at North Carolina show where the Rock and Roll Express were the most over guys on the card. But I've also worked a show in Brooklyn not too long ago where every single match was a car wreck. Every single one. So it's interesting to me, like on the indie scene, bro, it's not going in a certain direction. You got your traditional companies that are sticking to the roots. And then you got, like Glenn said, these backyard wrestlers where it's all that style. That's why I tend to like the indie scene, because I think there is choice out there depending on what type of wrestling you like.
Yeah, this is my take on his quote, and it's just to the point of you have to look at this factually and not through your opinion of what you like. If you like this style that Seth's talking about, that's great. But you have to look at the facts that the majority of wrestling fans don't, and that's why they've gone away. So if it were me, I wouldn't be bragging about being a hero about a style that is driving people away from the business and lowering the amount of customers that the business has. If it was me, I wouldn't be bragging about that. That's just my opinion.
I said, bro, we gotta understand though, Jeff. It's not. There's still a lot of. Don't mistake this. There's still a lot of wrestling fans out there. Okay, don't mistake the fact that the WWE is doing poor ratings, that there isn't a lot of wrestling, bro. Because the free wrestling you can catch on YouTube is like there's a humongous audience for it, and there are a lot of wrestlers out there. You can YouTube like that, bro. There's way more than back when we did it, but they're just doing the type of professional wrestling that's not going to draw big audiences. Okay, that's so. You can look at this so many ways, but bro, because there's so many fans of the product today, okay, that it's difficult to determine, okay, factually, we can make an estimate, but it's difficult to determine what the style of wrestling has done to the actual overall popularity of the sport, because all I know is that it just doesn't resonate with your television viewer. Okay, and the whole point is trying to get a television viewer to watch your television show. But if you're a fan of wrestling, okay, you can still watch that. You can still watch it on YouTube. You can still, like I said, bro, when the Attitude Era, like when wrestling got its highest TV ratings, these weren't wrestling fans. I honestly don't think the amount of wrestling fans has changed over the years. Mm-hmm. I just think the amount of non-wrestling fans that would watch the show has gradually decreased over the years. Because so it's like and that's where we're at. The style, all the style has done is it hasn't it's changed wrestling, and it's changed the amount of people that it's changed the popularity to the masses is all it's done. Yep. Wrestling fans, I don't think really has changed. Because it's like a lot of them don't even really care what the style like is in the ring, because as long as there's a match with a referee, and we know it's scripted entertainment, it is what it is. As long as that is out there, there's going to be fans for it. It's just the people that aren't fans of that, you're not. Your life is going on as usual, because we're just not giving you anything to watch on the TV shows.
Right.
That's so that's what's happened.
Next, Jeff.
And the WWE releasing Joey Styles, who was most recently involved with their web presence, their internet presence, WWE.com.
I couldn't believe he was talking about the stuff he was talking about in the interview. He was burying his employer. He was burying his employer.
What do you think? What do you think he said that was over the line, Glenn? Because I read those same comments and I didn't think they were horrible.
Well, it's just they're not horrible. I mean, it wasn't like he wasn't making statements of fact. He was giving his opinion, but it's stuff that I could see you don't, like you said, you don't want if there was a professional. Here's a perfect example. If there was a guy, if this was an athlete on a team, and he was talking about the coaching staff and the management that way, the team might have suspended him a game. Like, hey, like that. That was that's how much negative. Bro, the guy's. What'd you say his position was, Jeff?
Vice President of Digital Media Content.
Oh, that's think about that position, Vince. There's no way you should be making comments like that, and you're the vice president of a major part of that company. You know what I'm saying? So like he almost left him no choice. Basically he was sitting there saying, hey guys, hey, this is how I'd run the show if I was in charge. That's what the comments came to me as. I mean, vice president of digital, that's a humongous position, Vince.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what would you do if the guy the guy right underneath you at Smoky Mountain or at Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling just went on and did an interview and talked about, I wouldn't have done this. Basically talked about all the things he thought you did wrong. Yeah. What would you do?
Well, that's the
made it public,
that's the funny thing about it, bro. Because I think sometimes, bro, subconsciously, if we are looking to get out of a bad situation, we'll find a way out of it. Joey Styles is not an idiot. Joey Styles would just not make comments like that off the cuff. So I have to believe that Joey Styles was well aware of what the ramifications were going to be, and maybe he was okay with them. That was the surprising thing to me. The guy's been working there forever. He's a smart individual. He knows the company. Therefore, he would have had to understand, if I say this, it's going to get me in some kind of hot water.
When I was watching that and I was hearing what he was saying, this is the thought that actually crossed my head. And this is kind of like, I don't think anybody's thought of this. But, bro, he was being interviewed by an attractive woman, and I thought he was just way too comfortable in his answers. Like you're saying, like he may not have even thought about, I'm not even on the record because I'm having an interview here with an attractive girl. And I'm just talking, what I'm saying? Maybe let his guard down and became too comfortable with his answers. And I think he actually caught himself, was just sitting there saying wow, didn't he even say boy, I think I'm going to get in trouble for this? It's at some point.
Jeff, where was that interview?
The only one that I saw, and I'm not sure if he did more than one, but the only one that I saw was with Uprocks, and they had asked him about Roman Reigns and the push for Roman Reigns, and he had said the bottom line is, if our chairman thinks he sees a future star as a babyface, that's how things are going to play out. But the answer is Vince thinks it can work. He's been right much, 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 much more than wrong over the course of the last 40 years. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to second-guess the chairman.
I don't see a problem with that. What did he say? What did he say?
Bro, the other one.
I didn't see the other one.
You didn't see the other one?
No, this is the other one I saw. Yeah.
It's an interview with this girl, and they're sitting at a table that looks like an elementary school cafeteria or library. Like they're sitting. It's a really weird setting for an interview. And he was talking about the three-man announce team is terrible. It's just like he was talking about how bad it was. He was talking about how what were some of the other things he was bringing up? Oh, he talked about how the creative never really communicates with the web people. That maybe they should. Bro. There's a lot of stuff in there. He said that I'm surprised that he was talking about. And you should find that interview, Jeff. It's like the girl was attractive. I was like, that's what went through my mind when I was watching this. Like, wow, he's just way too comfortable here. He's probably going to catch himself getting in trouble when this thing's over.
Dean Ambrose was a guest on the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast, and this aired on the WWE Network. And a lot of times, I take what I hear on the network with a grain of salt, but knowing Steve Austin's reputation and what you know about Austin, Vince, and the fact the guy's always a straight shooter. So that's why I'm picking out this quote, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on this, because I don't think Austin would go on there and work an angle, so to speak. That's just my opinion.
I don't think so.
But he had Ambrose on, and he challenged Ambrose to amp up and amplify what he's got, because the WWE fans deserve it. And Austin feels like that Ambrose is getting a bit comfortable and needs to find his edge again. And what Ambrose said was that he likes it, but he tries to push the envelope every day, but sometimes it doesn't matter what you suggest. And that's a key quote, I think, from Ambrose. But Ambrose also said that he feels like Austin put him on blast, so to speak, but he likes it. So just your thoughts on that. Because
No, but hold on, Jeff. Do you have more comments there, or is that all you have?
Yeah, I got them all. Like
just say the
Rock stuff.
No.
Okay.
This is key. I want to point this out to people. What did he say about Vince McMahon and their relationship?
He said, if this is the one you're talking about, he says that a lot of people are intimidated by Vince or get the wrong idea of him, but Ambrose, he finds him to be very easy to talk to. He recalls having a conversation in the lobby of a hotel at 2 a.m. with Vince while Vince McMahon was headed to a workout, and he says that Vince is a trailer park street fighter at heart. He's one of the boys, so he thinks Vince understands who he is. And Ambrose says that he is Vince's favorite wrestler. He won't admit it, but he knows.
I'm going to let Glenn go first, but that part of the interview, especially when he's talking to Austin, is more telling to me, and I'll tell you why in a minute, but I want to see what...
No, you go ahead, because I'm going to go with something else.
Bro, I got to... I read that. Here's what it sounds like to me. I'm just going to be honest with you, bro. It sounds to me like Dean Ambrose is kissing Vince's ass. It seems to me like Dean Ambrose is saying, oh, yeah, me and Vince are good old boys. Vince is one of the boys. We're pals. We talk at 2 a.m. Okay, bro? Bro, let me tell you something. If you have a relationship like that with Vince McMahon is going to own you. And I get the impression, with all due respect to Dean Ambrose, Vince McMahon owns Dean Ambrose. Bro, that was not the relationship Vince McMahon had with Steve Austin. Bro, as mighty and powerful as Vince McMahon is, there was also the other side of that Vince didn't want to piss Austin off. I was there, bro. I was like in the middle of... I never experienced Steve Austin kissing Vince McMahon's ass. I never experienced Steve Austin not being honest with Vince and telling him the truth when they disagreed. Never. Austin was Austin, whether it was to Vince Russo or Vince McMahon. That's what Vince McMahon respects. Bro, if Vince McMahon didn't respect that, Shawn Michaels would have been fired 10 times from the WWE. So I'm reading the relationship between Ambrose and Vince, and just in the description of it, it's like, bro, you're up his freaking ass. He doesn't respect you. He's going to own you. He's going to tell you what to say and what not to say, and you're not going to do a damn thing about it. And that's exactly why Austin was putting him on blast, because Austin was hearing the same exact thing, and Austin, in his own political way, was saying, grow a set. Don't be one of the freaking puppets. I like you, kid. You could be special, but you gotta grow a set. That's what Austin was saying, bro.
Let me tell you something, too, and I think what ticked Austin off at the beginning, I watched it, I heard about the interview, and I went back and watched the first, I watched like 15 minutes of it. But, bro, I got the feeling, and if you're, this comes from a person that's played a lot of poker in my life, okay, and you know about tells, body tells, like things that people do when they're lying, okay? And you can see, bro, if you listen to a lot of the stuff that Ambrose is talking about, his childhood, like growing up and stuff and playing sports and everything and all that, and you heard when Austin says, he's like, wait a minute, did I get my information wrong on you or something? Like he did research, and the stuff that Ambrose was telling him, Austin was kind of aggravated, that this is not what I read, you kind of get the feeling he was lying to him. Bro, watch Ambrose. He does a lot of things that poker players do when they're bluffing and lying. And like when he's talking to him early in that thing, when he's talking about his childhood and sports and playing it, bro, I just got the feeling that the reason that interview kind of went south is because I think Dean Ambrose might have been not very honest with Vince, with Steve Austin, and Steve Austin kind of knew that he wasn't being very honest with him, and kind of got a little aggravated. That's what came across.
Bro, worse than that, Glenn. Replace the word honest with working.
Right.
If freaking Austin thought that Ambrose was trying to work him and especially get his character over,
right,
bro, you don't do that with Austin. Bro, as a guy that's been on Austin's show, don't freaking do that with Austin, bro.
Don't insult his intelligence.
No,
that's a good point.
Yeah,
Yeah, good point.
This one's interesting, guys, because you both.
This is his boy. This is Glenn's
boy.
boy. Go ahead.
It's come out that Buff Bagwell has filed a lawsuit against WWE for royalties that he feels is owed to him from his matches airing on the WWE Network. Now, this lawsuit alleges that the WWE deal merged with aspects of his WCW contract that had expired in March 2001, and that the WWE contract states, "This agreement contains the understanding of the parties with respect to the subject matter hereof, and all prior understandings, negotiations, and agreements are merged into this agreement. There are no other agreements, representations, or warranties not set forth herein with respect to the subject matter hereof." Now, I don't know what all that means, but I do know this: when it's broken down from what he's alleging in this lawsuit, he's saying that he believes he is owed royalties from the WWE Network because of the language in his 2001 WWE contract that said video cassettes, video discs, CD-ROM, or other technology, and this is the key phrase, including technology not yet created. Now, at the time, the WWE Network was obviously not yet created, so he's saying the network fits into that language. And Bagwell's lawsuit also claims that when he was released by the WWE in August of that year, 2001, that there was language in the release agreement noted that the WWE was buying out all of the obligations from his contract except for the royalties that would be owed in the future as determined by the contract. And he's saying that the release agreement also contained language that said Buff could not bring legal action against the WWE as long as they stuck to the terms of the release agreement. So he's alleging that they broke that agreement by not paying him those royalties. So thoughts on this, gentlemen? Because I know you both kind of fit into this category.
Well, yeah, especially Glenn, because Glenn's never spoken about this before, bro. Like, Glenn, you worked for WCW, never in a million years thinking, oh, they're going to stick, the WWE's going to buy them out, and I'm going to appear on this WWE network that never existed. Bro, like, I would think that you would have some stake to claim, but you never.
If my contract if I would have gotten paid for pay-per-views, I would have an argument. My deal was just a guaranteed deal based on I didn't get any extra money for pay-per-views or sales of those the sales of the pay-per-view DVDs. That was not part of my agreement. Okay, so footage. Just being on Nitro and stuff, everything. I can't get any money on that. That's footage that's aired forever. They own the rights to the footage. They can do whatever they want with it. And I never had a deal where I would get money on the DVD sales for the pay-per-view stuff and everything. So basically, I just got deals. My merchandise deal was for merchandise. It's just stuff that I was on. So I don't really have a claim. I don't think, towards getting any money off future sale. But if Buff Bagwell had a deal where he was getting paid off DVDs, basically, which include, pay-per-views and stuff and all that, I could see that, him having probably has a pretty good claim to that. If part of his deal that they that they bought out was basically, a deal where he was getting paid for pay-per-view, for DVD sales. So,
Glenn, let me ask you this, though, bro, because this is what I don't agree with, and it's all about, I say this all the time, I'm not going to argue with WWE legally, but to me, it's all about doing the right thing. Bro, of course, anybody wanting to have a hope and a dream of getting in the WWE, you're going to sign your life away and they're going to own you. Okay, I get that. I understand that. And they're going to own your likeness and your name and your this and your that. They're going to own freaking everything. I understand that. But then there's doing the right thing. If we're going to put a Buff Bagwell match on the WWE network, why not throw the guy a couple of bucks, bro? It's called royalties. Bro, an actor makes a movie, and he's getting royalties every time that movie is shown till the day he dies. Ed still gets royalties for shows that he wrote 20 freaking years ago. The checks aren't big, but they're a little something. Would it kill the WWE to throw these guys a bone when they're going to put them up on the network and they're making money off of that content?
Yes. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of bones to throw. There's a lot of footage on that network and a lot of guys. So you add it up. I mean, maybe Buff Bagwell's is a needle in a haystack. If you pay Buff Bagwell, you got to pay everybody. You know, and then what do you pay them? You know, they'd be better off just spending the legal fees fighting people that try to sue them for it. They'd save more money. That's a business plan. I mean, bro, you honestly think if they would do the right thing that they would be doing 4-month no compete clauses for guys when they get rid of them?
No, bro, but
like,
I hear what you're saying, bro, but I think the fact that they never do the right thing, I think they bring a lot of these lawsuits upon themselves. Whereas
doing the right thing might cost them more.
Well, no, I don't know about that, bro. I don't know about that. I don't know if you threw these guys a small bone, we appreciate you. Thank you guys very much. This is going to help your brand again, and we're going to put it on this state and blah, 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 blah. I think the guys would be happier than pigs in crap, bro. When you totally ignore them, that's when you bring lawsuits upon yourself. But I hear what you're saying, bro. What would it cost to throw everybody a bone? I don't know. But I think they bring a lot of lawsuits on themselves. Bro, I don't want to get into it, but I've got some friends that are suing. And I know that has a lot to do with it, and that's all. But go ahead, Jeff. What's next?
No, I just want to ask you guys real quick before we move on, because I feel like you're both in two different situations, and correct me if I'm wrong. Because, Vince, you've said on numerous occasions that you never had a talent on-air contract with WCW. Your only contract was as a writer.
Right.
So all the on-air stuff you never had a contract for, where Glenn is saying the opposite. He did have an on-air contract, and he never signed the things for the pay-per-view events and so on. I just want your guys' personal opinions. Let's take the legalities out of the situation, okay? Because you're both featured heavily on the WWE network. You go watch a WCW pay-per-view or a Nitro, Glenn, chances are you're on it. If you watch a WCW pay-per-view from the end of 99 till almost the end of 2000, Vince, chances are you're either on it or you and Ed had a hand in writing that stuff. And Glenn, I know you were a writer too as well in WCW. Personally, how do you feel about that, knowing your contributions, your likeness are on this network, but you don't compensate from it, so to speak?
Well, I don't compensate from the network, but I compensated for it when I did it. You know, I mean, when I did that, when I performed, I got compensated. You know, it's like pro football players. They get paid to play the game. I'm watching NFL Network. You know, when you watch NFL Network, you watch and replay the game. They're not paying all the guys in the team for re-airing that on the NFL Network. You know, I got paid to perform. I didn't have a deal to get paid on the back end of like everything that I ever didn't get paid for ever for performing. I got paid for wrestling my match, and every 2 weeks I got a pretty healthy paycheck for it. You know, and showing up for work and doing everything. So, you know, that's how I feel. If I would have got a better deal, you know, like I would have a stink if I had a deal where I got paid on pay-per-views and we're supposed to get royalties from DVDs, and they were airing these things for pay on the WWE Network, and that was part of my deal, you know. So I would have a stink about that, but I didn't have that. So, you know,
Vince,
that's how I feel. So,
bro, I just think it's I just think it's unfortunate that I think they're very ungrateful. That's all. Bro, listen, all everybody wants in life is a pat on the back and an attaboy, you did a good job. And that costs nothing, bro. That costs nothing. That's all people want. People want to feel wanted. They want to feel like they contributed. That's all people want. So, like, my beef, bro, it isn't money. I'm kind of like Glenn. Okay, bro, I wrote the material and you owned it, but don't be so freaking ungrateful. You know what I'm saying? Like, know where it came from, know what the contributions are, and don't be such a-holes when it comes to putting other people over. That's where my beef comes in, bro. It's like I like putting people over. I take enjoyment in putting people over. I don't know why it's so difficult for them to give people credit. That's where my issue comes in. That's all.
This Stephanie McMahon had an interesting quote with NBC News, and they were talking about LGBT storylines in professional wrestling. And this is what Stephanie had said. Throughout my life, I have grown up knowing gay superstars and executives. It's always been accepted But now it's about getting that message out there. We will integrate LGBT characters into our programming, and I do think there will be an opportunity to integrate some of those storylines in the near future. And WWE has partnered with GLAAD and about prioritizing sensitivity within the WWE creative team. And Stephanie said that we've had GLAAD come in, speak to our entire writing team, and give a whole tutorial on sensitivities, the right words, the wrong word, and why those words matter. I think, this is Stephanie's words, I think that with their guidance and support, we will be able to portray that appropriately. So I wanted your guys' A, thoughts on her comments, and B, she said she grew up and all this stuff was accepted. Did you see that when you guys were in the business?
She's talking about Pat Patterson. That's what she's talking about. She's talking about one person. Bro, when I worked at the WWE for 5 years, regardless of what was going on in people's personal lives, the only one that I knew was gay was Pat Patterson. So that's who she's talking about. Bro, Glenn's going to get mad at me, and everybody's going to get mad at me. And let me just make this perfectly clear. I don't like Stephanie McMahon. I don't like her. I don't like her. I don't like her personally. I don't like her professionally. I don't like her. With that being said, she has a way of saying things, bro, that are so freaking self-serving. That, look at us. We're going to openly now accept gay and lesbian performers, and we're going to put their storylines on TV. It's like, just freaking do it and shut up. You know what I mean? But it's like it doesn't mean anything because it's so freaking self-serving. Bro, I just had a guy contact me online, Jeff, that did our show. And he said to me, Vince, I'm putting on a 100% LGBT show. Will you help me support it? Can you have me as a guest on the show, whatever? I wrote him back, bro, no problem. You know I like you. Whatever I can do to help you. Okay? It would be the equivalent, bro, of me going out there and advertising that to everybody. Hey, guys, there's going to be an LGBT show, and we're supporting it. We're putting it on. Bro, come on. If I did that, I would be doing it for all the wrong reasons. It would be self-serving. Every time she gets involved with this or the Connor's cure or the breast cancer, my God, bro, it comes across as so self-serving and so obvious. Just freaking do it and keep your mouth shut. It's that simple.
It's hard not to look at it that way when she tweeted that philanthropy is the future of marketing. It's the way that brands are going to win. Now, I don't know who advised her to tweet that, but ever since I've read that tweet personally, every time she says something, I'm kind of like, it's hard to believe that she's sincere about these things and that it's not just a business decision. Do you think that's fair, Glenn?
Let's see, one more thing, Glenn. Let's see, Jeff, let's see how many gay and lesbian writers they hire to really write legit storylines. They came in and they consulted. Bro, you want to do it right, then hire a gay writer, hire a lesbian writer. Talk to me when you do that. But God, bro,
they're not going to do it.
Why?
This is all. They're not going to have a storyline like that. They're not going to. It's not ever going to happen. You're never going to see that. And you know why? Because the show is for kids. They can sit there and talk about doing it, but like when it all comes down to it, they're probably not going to say, because they're going to think that they're going to alienate the fans. There is bigotry out there, okay, and like it exists, and I don't think they're going to try to alienate their fan base, to put a storyline like that on. I mean, I just trust me on that. I will bet money today that in the future the WWE will never have a storyline like that on their show, as long as this is the audience that they are gearing their show for.
But then, Glenn, let's be the devil's advocate. Okay, I hear you, but even if they go out and promote this, aren't they going to get the same lashback from the same people?
I just don't think it's they did something similar with Goldust. So it's like, I mean, and that was when the show was edgy. They really haven't done anything like that since. As a matter of fact, Goldust moved away from that aspect of his character. Over the course of time, they have Darren Young. They don't even address the fact that he's a homosexual on the show. It's just ignored and stuff. So what makes you think they're ever going to have a storyline like this? I mean, I just don't. It's lip service, like you said. Everything she said is, it's lip service.
I swear, again,
it's publicity.
It is personal with me. It really is. I would never have that girl open her mouth and represent my company. Bro, with all the differences I've had with Vince McMahon and still have with him, I've never heard anything stupid come out of his mouth. I haven't. I've never read a comment in the press from Vince McMahon where I've cringed. Never. Every time this girl opens her mouth, it's like, are you a moron? You're so transparent, bro. It's not even funny, bro. Go on to the rating gimmick.
Yeah, just quickly on these ratings. I wanted your guys' thoughts. The Raw rating, and a lot of people are saying this is up against the Olympics. Fair to say there was like 30 million people that watched the Olympics, so the Olympics did a huge number. Keeping that in mind, Raw was under 3 million for each hour this week. Rounded up, it did go to 3. So, rounded up, we got a 3.0, a 3.0, and a 2.8 for the final hour. Averaged out at 2.9 million for the episode compared to the 3.3 million last week. The rating dropped to 2.05 from a 2.30. This is being classified as the lowest non-holiday viewership since, the Monday Night Wars. And the SmackDown rating at the time of this taping right here for us, I could not find the rating, but the viewership did drop to 2.5 million from 2.7 million. So my question for you guys, is this Olympics or is this the product?
Well, I read something interesting online. Let me throw this out there, and then I'm going to let Glenn go. But because I read this online, Glenn, and I want to see what you think about this too. The Olympics is every 4 years, correct? Mm-hmm. What I was reading online was the last time the WWE went head-to-head with the Olympics, the audience was 4 million people. Mm-hmm. So literally, over the course of 4 years, 1 million people. Again, bro, DVR, Nook, Cranny, phone. But over the 4 years, it was 1 million people less when compared to the last time the Olympics was on. Go ahead, Glenn.
I just think that number one, the Olympics. Number two, nothing happened. When nothing happens on the show, it's very easy to just to change a channel. I did like, and I have to point out, I did like what they did with Finn Balor. I liked that promo.
Too. I thought that was very good.
I thought that like I said, I want to reiterate that I think that your criticism of him is too. We need to let the character mature a little bit. That you're being too critical. It's only been 3 weeks. First week, first couple weeks you were very critical of, but
I'm giving you a timeout. I'm giving you a timeout. You see this timeout? Mm-hmm. You see this timeout? Because now I'm going to shut you down. Here's the timeout. How many years did you work with Sting?
Just a lot.
Okay, a lot. And bro, we know the old Sting. We know the crew cut Sting with the color face paint, all the way to the crow. We know all that Sting. Okay, Glenn, I gotta take my glasses off here because you're gonna piss me off. Glenn, okay, Steve Borden, okay, mm-hmm. Glenn, what if? And bro, you know Sting and you know Steve Borden, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Glenn. Glenn, what if on every pay-per-view, Steve Borden came out as Sting, whether it was crew cut Sting, whether it was Crow Sting, every pay-per-view he came out as a version of Sting. Okay, you with me?
Mm-hmm.
The 3 or 4 weeks between pay-per-views, he comes out as regular guy Steve Borden. Okay? Time out. How can you make the argument to me that the WWE, this has nothing to do with Finn Balor. This is the booking, bro. This is booking. That the WWE is saying, hey, everybody, the 4 weeks that regular guy Steve Borden comes out, those 4 weeks are not important. What's important? Let me finish.
You've already said this on your show.
What's important is when Sting comes out at the pay-per-view. That's what you have to watch. The weeks in between don't matter. You want to watch. Explain that to me, bro. Go ahead.
I'll explain it to you very simply because this is so far
you're so
over
smug. You're so smug. You're
so
smug. And I didn't tell you this week. Your hair looks ridiculous. I didn't get a chance to say that. And you're so smug, bro. But go ahead with your smugness.
All right. First of all, Finn Balor is not Sting. Nobody's comparing Finn Balor to Sting except for Vince Russo. All right. So I'm not comparing Finn Balor to Sting just because the demon character has a bunch of makeup on. Okay, which is kind of like as silly a comparison as you can make, because like that's so black and white right there. It's like a very simplistic.
Because it is black. Because it is black and white. Go ahead.
No. Okay, so everybody that wears makeup, there's only Sting and now Finn Balor. Everybody that's ever worn makeup in wrestling. Come on. Secondly, okay, bro, like it's like I keep saying, it's 3 weeks. We don't even know anything. You've watched. I've never seen the demon character. I actually, for the first time, YouTubed the entrance because I've never seen it. Right. Okay, so we've argued in the past that I'm a casual fan. I'm watching this new guy, unassuming. I'm not that impressed with him yet. Okay, but then I see this promo they cut where he's kind of like he was much darker this week. Okay, he was in a setting and he was talking about this character. All right, I've never seen him before. Okay,
all right.
I'm not sitting there saying like, since this is only the 3rd week for the guy.
Okay.
I'm not saying to myself, it's like, wait a minute, where's this guy go? You know, why is this guy not there? Well, what am I supposed to care about this guy for if he's this other guy? Should I just not be? No, I want to see the progression next week, where they're going with this.
Right.
Then. Okay, if they do it correctly, which they probably won't, but what if now this character changes? He becomes more like the demon character. I don't even know how the demon character wrestles. I mean, maybe the demon character pulls a fork like New Jack out of his tights and starts trying to stab the guy in the head or something.
No, the demon, because I've watched the demon wrestler, bro.
Okay, but I haven't.
Okay, the demon wrestler wrestles very much like Finn Balor, bro. Just so you know,
bro. Okay. I'm not. It's way too early.
It's not too early, bro. Because
critical of this because
you know what you're ignoring. Here's what you're ignoring.
You're ignoring that you're first.
No. You're ignoring. They have a track record from NXT. Everybody from NXT has come over the same exact way. That's what you're ignoring, bro. So in other words, Glenn, all right, Glenn, you're telling me if he comes out as this great demon character, which is freaking awesome, and then the next 4 weeks he comes out as the Fonz, you're telling me you agree with me. You'll agree with me then.
Oh, you make it sound like he's just like walking on the show dressed as the Fonz.
Pretty much.
He's not saying anything. He's no. You're assuming that that he's just walking out there and everybody's gonna go, hey, like they put the happy days song. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't. I mean, you're just assuming such simplistic stuff.
Right. Okay.
It's like my point is, it's like okay, if he's like I said, I thought I liked this promo this week.
I did too. I did too. I put it over.
But I bet you didn't expect to see that. You probably expected to see Finn Balor and another boring whatever. But I'm just saying. I thought, like I said, here's the saying. It's too early to be this critical of what they're doing with them. All right.
Let me ask you both this real quick. Is it fair to say maybe we should wait to see if the night after SummerSlam, if he comes out as the Demon or if he comes out as the Fonz? To declare the.
What depends on whether it has the belt or not. Depends on whether it has the belt. Okay, what if we could? First of all, this is one thing that hasn't been done. Okay, and we're in a gray area here. Sting was Sting. Okay, nobody ever decided to do it. To produce Sting and Steve Borden as characters on the same show as a progressive storyline. What if Steve Borden was different than Sting? You know, like, bro, there's like, to me, there's just like,
Oh my God, bro!
the way they're presenting the Finn Balor character.
Do you understand, bro? Listen, I don't.
Bro,
I swear to
don't
God,
browbeat me like
I'm
I
not
don't understand.
browbeating you,
Okay?
Glenn. Listen to me,
Look,
Glenn. Hold on. Let me just say one thing to you. Let me just say one thing to you. No, I'm not. No, let me say one thing. Can I give you my last time out? Can I give you
every single
my
word
last
you're
time out?
saying right now?
Listen,
Because
listen,
they
listen.
know what you're going to say because you're doubling down
Listen. Time out.
the original. Go ahead.
Listen to what you're saying. Here's what you're forgetting. This is what you're forgetting, bro. Okay? Vince McMahon writes this show.
I'm not, bro. I'm aware of that. I'm not forgetting that. I'm not forgetting
These ideas you're talking about, they're not in the mind of a 70-year-old man, bro.
Vince, then if I'm based on that philosophy, I'm not watching the show at all this week. I'm not going to watch any of it. If that's your philosophy, why are you wasting your time spending 3 hours watching that show from start to finish? Why do you have to?
Because we get paid to watch it.
By who?
By the people who are subscribers to our show.
Why don't you tell the people that are subscribers to the show, hey, look, we're going to do this Tuesday. We're going to do instead of do the show after Raw's over to subject people to 4 hours of misery instead of 3 hours of misery. I'm gonna watch the show. I'm gonna do it like Glenn watches it. I'm gonna read Jason Powell's online review. I'm gonna see what I like. I'm gonna fast through with all the stuff I like, and then we're gonna do the show the next day. All right?
Because we have to do SmackDown the next day, bro. We got to do SmackDown the next day.
What you're doing is you're knocking me from my personal opinion the way I'm watching the show, which is incorrect. Okay? I don't watch it from start to finish for 3 hours. I watch it differently, and the reason I can fast forward, go to the Finn Balor stuff, and fast forward and watch it in this 2 minutes thing, the little thing they had, and then fast forward to the next thing, I am more interested and not going to be as critical of what they're doing with them because I am not watching the show from start to finish. This is because I know that Vince McMahon is a 70-year-old man, and there's no way that I am going to watch that show for 3 hours in a row from start to finish and be entertained by it. So I'm going to continue to do the way I watch it, and my personal opinion is I am not critical of what they're doing with Finn Balor because to me it's a simplistic, progressive storyline, and they haven't screwed it up yet.
Glenn, let me ask you this just to play devil's advocate to what you just said. Because, look, I understand what you're saying. You look at it at a completely different point of view if you're fast-forwarding through compared to somebody who watches it for the full 3 hours. But when you look at it at the point of a television show that has 3 hours, shouldn't the point of that show be to entertain people that do sit through it for the 3 hours instead of fast-forwarding? You know what I mean?
Jeff, we already know this.
Right.
You're repeating stuff that we've said for the past year. Okay, so we know that's why, which is why I'm choosing to watch the way I watch it.
Right.
Okay, you guys have to watch it differently. So your perspective on the show is going to be far different than mine. Like I said, it's the easiest way in the world to watch it. If I told you, if I DVR it and I have you, Jeff, what should I watch? Hey, watch this, and watch this. That's what I do. You know, so but I read one guy's review and I read the stuff that I like, but maybe he reads it differently. But like I'm saying, of course we know because the reason I'm watching it that way is because they're not giving me the show that I like the way they should be. Because I'm a casual wrestling fan and I have to fast forward through the show. If I'm a casual wrestling fan, I'm having to fast forward. That means what you're doing is, and we know this because we have discussed this ad nauseum, is they're not giving me the type of show that I like, so I have to fast forward it. And for all the reasons that we have discussed. So, I'm not forgetting anything. Okay? I know what the show is, which is why I DVR it. Okay? It's that simple.
Real quick, because Glenn, you made an interesting point that Vince agreed with at the top of the show, was that there's really nothing for casual fans right now to watch as far as wrestling is concerned. Why is Lucha Underground not in that category? Because, and this is my opinion, I feel like their story motivation, the stuff they try to do is directed towards casual fans, but I feel like the matches are just too long for the casual fan to stay hooked. And that's my opinion why I feel like, and I know they had a big increase in Season 2 compared to Season 1, but I feel like that's why the casual fans are gravitating to them, because while the storylines, I feel, are designed towards casual fans, the matches are still too long. So what do you guys think? Why is Lucha Underground not in that category?
I would totally agree with that. I think this, but it's a very difficult show for them to produce as they're producing it. I mean, it's shot like a movie, you know. So I mean, they're doing a lot of. Vince was there. I don't know, but I know the production process probably takes a lot longer than a regular.
Let me say this first of all. Did either of you guys see the 2-minute trailer for season 3?
Yeah,
Yes,
it was
I did.
excellent.
Freaking unbelievable. Freaking unbelievable. Jeff, I will say this again. It's the matches are too long, and Jeff, I'm going to tell you. The problem I am still having is the majority of the performers are under a hood. And, bro, to this day, Jeff, when they come out of the entrance, I don't immediately know who's who. Bro, if there wasn't an announcer, I would not know, the Max wrestlers, I would not know one from the other. Because, bro, now, Jeff, here's the thing. When they come out with full ring regalia, they try to look different. Okay, bro? Like, the guy's got the antlers and like the whole nine goes. Jeff, once all that comes off and it's tights and a mask, I don't know who it is anymore. And they all look the same. That's the problem I've always had. And as a writer and a producer, bro, half of creative and selling a promo and getting a guy over is the facial. You take the facial away, and now more than half of your roster is under a mask. That's the problem I have with being a full-blown Lucha Underground fan. That's a fact, bro. I felt that way for the past 3 years. If I join a match in progress, I don't know who I'm looking at because they're all wearing the tights, they're all chiseled, and they have the mask. I don't know who I'm looking at.
I can't. I'm not going to argue with that. I'm honestly, your Lucha is a different product,
right?
And it's a completely different fan base,
right?
The characters are more. They're looked at in Mexico as kind of like live action superheroes,
right?
Performing kind of like acrobatics, which is like a lot that's the style down there. And I'm sorry, but that is a different product than what an American television audience is used to seeing. Okay, we like facials, we like drama, we like which is why I'm saying like I think like Jeff, you're kind of right. Is Lucha would be better if it had more vignettes and less wrestling. Okay, because like when the characters are humanized in the backstage settings, that's kind of real. It's cool, But when they're out in the ring and the match keeps going on and on and on and on, it's like, bro, like I said, I'm not a fan of lucha libre style wrestling. I'm a fan of the good ones, but still to me the style itself is kind of not as realistic as a good old fashioned American wrestling. So I honestly think that's like I said, the same way with me and Lucha. That's a good show to watch with the DVR button because bro, I can just watch the finishes and watch the vignettes, and that's a great show. Because those vignettes are just so cool. And the way they produce the characters, that's the thing. Is like none of the characters on that show don't ever not look like stars. Even like when they're just like, they look like they're dressed cool. Mm-hmm. Like nobody dresses like a slob. Nobody remember like in TNA when we try to get these guys, bro. You look like a slob out there. Yeah. We're on national TV. You got Docker shorts and how these guys used to dress sometimes and stuff, everything. So but yeah, they look like TV stars. But like I said, when they're in the dramatic settings of the vignettes, they come across as bigger stars than when they are in the ring. That's what that show seems like to me. Yeah. But right. But that's why it hasn't resonated that much maybe with the fan base, Yeah. And plus the channel is hard to get. I don't think the channel's on a lot of El Rey is not on a lot of the cable systems. It's on a very, very limited amount, Yeah.
All right, Jeff, is that all you got for the news topics?
That's all for the news.
I can't wait till the Demon comes out at SummerSlam and the Fonz comes out on Monday night and we're doing this show on Thursday and you're apologizing to me. That's what I can't wait for. That's what I can't wait for. That's what I can't wait for. All right, Glenn Gilberti, everybody. Glenn could be heard on Conan's great show. What show is that, Glenn?
Keep It at 100. It drops on Wednesday nights.
Keep It at 100.
trust me, far more entertaining show to do than this show.
Yeah.
Because you are a jackass.
Yeah, and
okay?
I want listen. Can I say this too, bro?
Right.
Slowly but surely, bro. What is it that you do with all your haircuts? You put pictures of haircuts online or something. What is it that you do?
But the day I get my haircut, I post it right after I get a cut.
Well, I just want to say for the record, you're killing the haircut industry because you're putting these pictures up and people saying, oh, my God, I can't get my haircut. What the hell happens if I wind up looking like Glenn Gilbernetti? So not only did you kill WCW, you're now killing the haircutting industry. I want you to know that.
Well, I can fly you. Once you fly to Vegas, I'll get your haircut because you look like you could use one.
Yeah, all right, listen. What about the Twitter gimmick? Tell them where to find you on Twitter.
At The Real Disco, and also at Disco Master GG on Instagram. You can find the musings of the world famous Disco Inferno, and I'm in demand. There's a lot of
All right, listen, Glenn, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
All right, see you, Glenn. All right, the great Glenn Gilbernetti, everybody. There you go.
Gilbert.
All right,
Gilbert.
all right, whatever.